come together on Sunday mornings to create this sacred space of love and unity and harmony in which we can almost like bathe in. It's like, think of it as a pool that you're jumping into, a pool of positive. We pray together and we meditate together and we laugh together and we learn together and we grow together. And I think growing is a big part of it.
Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We offer a unique approach to spirituality. We are love-based and all-inclusive. We embrace an open heart and an open mind. We are spiritual, not religious. We are a blending of Christianity, Eastern philosophy, science, transcendentalism, and affirmative prayer based on the power of the mind.
We offer many spiritual tools that allow you to increase your spiritual journey from a meaningful way and increase to your abundant living. Because in the end, it's all God and it's all good.
As an interspiritual community and divine love in expression, we draw from and honor all paths to spirit. We have no dogma or creed, though we do have 5 principles that formulate our philosophy. Our foundational belief is oneness, and our fundamental practice is living in the present moment.
Oneness. That is what sets us apart from most spiritual traditions, that we teach and believe that underlying everything there is this oneness that we call God, we call the matrix, we call spirit, we call whatever, but it's just something that unites each and every one of us at the deepest level that we have. So once again, welcome to Unity Spiritual Center, Georgetown, a spiritual breath of fresh air.
And now for some announcements. The first will be, if you're here for the first time, we would like to extend a special welcome. If you are comfortable, please raise your hand or stand so we can say hi and give you a welcome packet. Is anyone here? I don't understand what she said. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, yes, please stand. So, and what's your name? Welcome.
Thank you.
And have you been involved with Unity before?
I have not.
You haven't? Oh, then a big welcome. Yes.
Brand new experience.
Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And your name?
Cindy Brennan, and I've never been to this either.
Welcome. Wonderful. Yes.
Hi, I'm Emily.
Hi, Emily.
This is Marcus and Penelope and Waylon. Been to Unity Church of the Hills before, so this is my first time with it.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you all here. So, other things that are happening here, not necessarily on Sunday. One is called Let's Get Metaphysical. It's a discussion group that meets on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And the topics change just to boost that in your interest. It's a magnificent group. I'm in it.
We meet at the park. At the park.
Oh, yes. We meet at the park, the Legacy Hills Park, and we bring a chair. So please join us if you're available at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays. Okay. And there is another club, a book club, which will meet again on February 28th at 10. That's not in Legacy Park. It's at the Lark and Owl bookstore. And they will be discussing Unfinished Business, What the Dead Can Teach Us About Life by James Van Praagh. And this is happening today after the service. We are hosting a town hall meeting. We're going to be talking about finding possibly a permanent home for our group. So please do come and hear about that or give your input about it. Ann Kennedy, our resident biblical archaeologist. Do you want to stand up, Ann? Is Ann here? There she is. Hi, Ann. She received some great feedback from many of us and about her next class, which will be on the Gnostics, and the date will soon be announced. Then there's something else, the Lunch and Learn event with Key Browning called Zen Talk. Is Key here? No, okay. It's scheduled for Sunday, March 19th, following the service. We're looking into arrangements for attendees to pre-order lunch from Jason's Deli and having them delivered to the meeting. Stay tuned. And additional item, to sign up or get more information about these events, please visit our welcome table in the foyer, see your weekly e-newsletter, or check out our website at www.unitygeorgetown.org. Thank you.
Did you want to say something about birthdays, Liz? Or what?
I wasn't going to yet. First, though, we skipped over the annual meeting, which is March 5th. Okay, we want to make sure you come for that. And then I was going to advertise it next week because we still have another week. But there's a sign-up sheet out front for birthday Sunday. If you want to bring a cake, if you're willing to donate a cake for the first Sunday of the month. We used to have the whole year sign up. I've got a sign-up sheet on the table out front, and that would help Doris Penny greatly. She's taken over coordinating hospitality, but we could use some help getting the cake here on the first Sunday. So there's a sign-up sheet on the table. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Well, we like to start on Sunday morning with something that it is called Laughter is the Best Medicine. Because we know now medically that it really does, it is good for you to be in that joyous state. And it's a wonderful way to start the service and set that joy in your heart with laughing. So I want to share one that I think Brian sent me this, Brian. So Brian's fault. And it goes like this. An 85-year-old couple having been married for almost 60 years, well, they transitioned together. And they were in good health the last 10 years, mainly due to the wife's neurotic interest in health food. When they reached the pearly gates, St. Pete took them and to their mansion where they were going to stay forever. And it was decked out with a beautiful kitchen and a master bedroom with a bath suite and jacuzzi. And they oohed and awed and said, oh. And the man asked St. Peter, how much is this going to cost? And he said, it's free. This is heaven. So next time, then they went out to the backyard, and there was a championship golf course, and with all this stuff in it. And the man says, wow, this is amazing. How much is this going to cost? Again, it's free. This is heaven. And the good thing is that every week, the course changes to another championship golf course throughout the world. So you're always playing a new course. It's amazing. So they walk into the clubhouse, and they find a big layout buffet of food and drink, and there's a sign that says, eat and drink anything you want. And I said, they were amazed at this point. And again, the guy says, how much is this? He said, you're not getting this. It's heaven. It's free. And he says, where's the low-fat, low-cholesterol stuff? And I said, that's the best part. You don't have to worry about it. You will have perfect health all of your life without limitations. You can eat and drink anything you want. At this point, they were just speechless. The man turns around and looks at his wife. You and your bran flakes. I could have been here 10 years ago.
I release and I let go. On the table, we have 3 candles. These candles represent mind, idea, expression. Mind is that beautiful field that surrounds us. It is the divine mind. It is where there are infinite possibilities. Idea. Idea is a divine idea. It is in that beautiful matrix, waiting for a thought. When you have a thought, that divine idea enters within. Expression is when you take action on that divine idea. You may take small steps at first to bring it into manifestation, but nothing happens unless you first take action. And now we'll do our congregational song, I Am the Light.
I am the light, I am a light in this world, in this world. I am a light, I am a light in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine. I see the joy, I see the joy in this world, in this world. I see the joy in this world, in this world. This is the place, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine. I'm living love every day. Spread peace along the way. Spread peace along the way. Right time, right place. Living love every day. We are the light. We are the light in this world. In this world. We are the light. World, in this world. This is the place, this is the time. Let it shine, let it shine. This is the place, this is the time. Let it shine, shine.
Thank you, Dan. And now if you will repeat with me the prayer of intention. Living Spirit opens our minds, opens our hearts, touches us all deeply with love, and sends us out as agents. Agents of love, agents of peace, agents of justice. Amen. And now we have all these beautiful children here today. So if you want to meet your teachers right over here, you can go back and have your children's Sunday school. All right. Miss Mimi's waiting right there for you, sweetheart, and you'll have a wonderful time.
You meet new friends.
And now, if you would please join me in affirming our statement of being. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And now for our vision and mission statements. Centered in God, we co-create a world of love, peace, and abundance. We are a thriving spiritual community, inspiring and empowering individual and global transformation, as exemplified by the life and teachings of Jesus.
Now, a reading from the Daily Word, and it's on pray for others. For every challenge that can show up in someone's life, there is a spiritual solution. I take this to heart as I pray with others. The events of the world may feel beyond my control, but I control my response to them. As I feel my connection to God in prayer, I feel uplifted. I behold everyone and everything through a new lens of possibility and promise. With this refreshed perspective, I let go of my attachments, let go of judgment, and pray from indwelling spirit with my awareness fully focused on my oneness with God. This radiant light illuminates my mind, my heart, and the minds and hearts of all those for whom I pray. Grateful, I release concern about outcomes and resolutions, assured that all is truly well. Pray in the Spirit at all times in every prayer and supplication. And that's from Ephesians 6:18.
On the next page.
Oh, sorry. Today's affirmation is, my prayers are a blessing for myself and others. Please repeat the affirmation twice with me. My prayers are a blessing for myself and others. My prayers are a blessing for myself and others.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I lost my way, then I go inside and quiet my mind. I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love.
And now it's time for our community prayers. As we go into this sacred time of prayer, we lift up light and love to all those who are experiencing challenges, losses, but we also lift up our prayers to those who are in gratitude and joy. For God is in every present moment. So if there's anyone or any situation that you would like to put into this sacred space of prayer, please either say their name silently or out loud as we now enter prayer. We affirm the wholeness of all, for we are divine spirits. And as we close this prayer time, let us now sing an ancient prayer, a prayer handed down through the ages that affirms God's realm manifest in earth as it is in heaven, our Lord's Prayer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory
For our spiritual practice, I've taken a phrase out of Soul Talk by Kirk Byron Jones. He says, "Our souls love it when we linger, when we stop pushing and pulling and allow ourselves to be at ease in body, mind, and spirit. Lingering allows for savoring, respite, and restoration. Lingering lets us listen to the deep spaces and places, enabling us to excavate even deeper spaces and places in ourselves. Lingering lets us feel the breeze of the Spirit, inviting us to let it be well with our souls. Now, as we go into meditation, just allow and enjoy lingering.
Here's to life and every joy it brings. Here's to life, to dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life, here's to love, here's to you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Donna Sue. I was sitting there when she was talking about this, lingering and wondering. You know, it's kind of we come together to create this spiritual soup, and it starts to boil, and then right now we're in that simmering stage, and you can just smell the beauty of spirit all around us. I don't know why I got that thought, but I did. Today's lesson is, oh, you're hungry? That's true. Today's lesson is called 40 Days of Letting Go. Wednesday is Ash Wednesday, and it marks the beginning of the Christian Lenten season. And as we know, Unity's early theological influence was Christianity, primarily because Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore was a devout Methodist. And plus, on top of that, Christianity was just the predominant religion in America at the time, and it still is. But as I've talked about before, you know, it's been a 80-year decline in church attendance, so we're kind of fading a little bit, and we've talked about that in the past. However, to all the different influences that were around at that time period, such as the scientific revolution, transcendentalism, and the varied interests of Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore, it didn't take long for Unity to expand into much more than that, to include a much bigger picture. The result was Unity's view of the Christian model changed to what we believe is a more encompassing, broader perspective. But this different view of seeing the Christian model is exemplified very well in the Lenten season, and that's the topic of today. It is very different from how tradition interprets it, but it's consistent with how we see and interpret Christian concepts. Every year, Unity puts out a booklet. This year, it's called 40 Days of Letting Go. We've ordered some copies. On your way out, please take a copy with you. They are free. And the recurring theme this year in the book is to get you to do a daily practice of letting go of something in your life that you really don't need anymore. And examples like we release and let go of limitations. We release and let go of negative thinking. We release and let go of resentments. And it goes on, each for 40 days. And the goal, the hope is that it will get you into a daily practice to do these things, not just during Lent, but all year long. Because the use of these spiritual practices is key in your spiritual unfolding. That is why every Sunday we introduce what we just did, a spiritual practice that we call. This is to help you to develop these positive routines, habits, to help you continue, let's say, in your spiritual unfolding. A few years ago, the booklet that Unity put out was called Fasting and Feasting. And I grew up a Catholic, and when I came across that view of Lent, fasting and feasting, it was like nothing I had ever really seen or heard before. And I went like, what do you mean feasting? During Lent? Really? What does that even mean? It was completely contrary to anything I had ever really heard of. And today I want to share with you a little bit of that, because I used to think that Lent was about giving up something, about suffering in a certain way, as a way to prepare us for the Passion Week that's coming up in 6 weeks or whatever it is. And by the way, do you know why I call it Passion Week? Well, the first time Passion Week, anybody know? It's because they don't use the word passion like we use the word passion. Like I'm passionate for music, or I'm passionate for this or that, the other. That's not the definition originally of the word. It comes from the Latin, and it means to suffer. That's why it's Passion Week. Anyway, I found this view of fasting and feasting refreshing and just inspiring, and I still do, and I want to share with you some of that today. So, if that doesn't define, fasting and feasting, if that does not define our tagline, a positive path for spiritual living, I don't know what does. So before I get into that, though, I want to talk about a little bit about the tradition so that you are familiar with where does the whole idea of Lent come from. As you know, I'm a very, very curious person, and I like to ask questions, and I like to know, because we need to know where we get these ideas so we'll know why we have these ideas. Traditionally, religions have developed this way. It's called the 4 M's. The first one, it goes like this. The first one is the man. And then there is a message. And then there is a movement. And then there is a monument to the man. Now, what is the point here? That in our limited understanding, we end up mistaking the man for the message. The message becomes about the man instead of about the idea. And that's the classic Zen finger pointing at the moon. And in Unity, we believe this is exactly what happened with Jesus. He was not saying, follow me, the man. He was saying, follow me, the message that I have, because it applies to all man. And I say that all the time. If it's about one person, then it's only about that one person. But if it is about an idea, then it is about everybody, you and me and everyone. Thus, in Unity, we see Jesus as the great example, not the great exception. One of the great courses that I took is called How Jesus Became God. And the great courses, if you're not familiar, are put together by this company that hires the best professors in the whole country. I mean, PhD guys who teach religion, Christianity in Harvard or Yale or things like this. And so you're sitting there in a top-notch Christian class. And so I want to do this class, this lesson, at the end of the Lent season so we can get an idea how that came about. So let's go back to the beginning of the Lent season. First of all, I want you to understand that Lent is not in the Bible. Not at all. And it's something that the church made up. Yep, good old man-made rules. That's what that is. From the forward section of the book, Keep a True Lent, written by Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore, comes this. He says, it is commonly believed that the Lenten period has to do with the 40 days preceding the resurrection. This is an erroneous idea. Lent is a church institution, and there is no authorization for it anywhere in the New Testament. The idea, however, has a sound spiritual basis. Moses, Elijah, and Jesus himself set a precedent for it. Each observed a 40-day period of prayer and fasting as a preparation for spiritual work. Moses received the 10 Commandments after his conclusion of a fast. Elijah talked with God at the conclusion of his period of prayer and fasting. And Jesus began his ministry after the close of the 40 days in the wilderness. When I researched how the practice of Lent began, I found this. Ash Wednesday is a practice which uses a symbolism of putting ashes on our foreheads as a reminder of our unworthiness, sinfulness, and need for redemption. A reminder of our unworthiness, sinfulness, and need for redemption. Do we really need a reminder of that? In the Old Testament times, it says, putting ashes on the forehead, fasting, and wearing sackcloth were signs of true repentance. In 1099, Pope Urban II is responsible for calling the first day of Lent Ash Wednesday. So this is 1,100 years after Jesus. He imposed ritual for only those who committed grave sins. They were asked to do public penance until they reconciled through confessions and penance to the penitence to the church. Now listen to this. The practice was initiated to quarantine sinners from the rest of the community. By the way, the word quarantine has a Latin root from where we get 40. In Spanish, if you know Spanish, it's cuarenta. Quarantine, 40. And so that's the 40 days. I also looked up the definition of penance. And it says, listen to this, voluntary self-punishment inflicted as an outward expression of repentance for having done wrong. Voluntary self-punishment. You got to love that. My curiosity kicked in and I said, well, what is the definition of penance? Where does that come from? And I looked it up. And interestingly, there is a Spanish word which shares the same root. I don't know if all cultures use it, but we do here in South Texas, and the word is penitencia. Literally it means punishment. But in Spanish we refer to as a prison. Yeah. So that's the word penance comes from. So in summary, it works like this. We create self-imposed punishments, prisons, because of our belief in unworthiness. That's what we do. Any wonder that why we're where we are? Really? Self-imposed stuff. And you know, the Eagles have a song, Already Gone, and in there it says, so we live our whole lives in chains and don't realize that we have the key. You know, and when I think about that, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free, it's that you have the key. You have the key, and nobody can open it except through you. Emerson wrote, God enters into every man, this is 1800 language, God enters into every man through a private door. I said, thank you, Emerson. So I got to thinking, you know, surely there must be a better way to look at this Lent business. And so along comes Unity into my life and offers me a totally different way of looking at it. I said, this actually makes sense. This is strange. Essentially, it is, broadly speaking, it is about the many crucifixions and resurrections that we have during our journey, during our human experiences. And a lot of them are small. You know, maybe you broke your arm, or that's not too small, but maybe smaller. Maybe you scratched yourself or whatever. And then you heal yourself. And so that's a kind of a crucifixion and a resurrection. There's some bigger ones that if you go through a divorce, for example, that's a big crucifixion. But then you find somebody else that maybe makes you even happier, and that's a resurrection. So it happens all the time. And the crucifixion and resurrection of this time of the season has to do with a really big picture. And that is our crucifixion of our limitations and of our not knowing who we truly are, and the resurrection that comes with it from that newfound knowledge. So let's take a look at this idea of fasting and feasting from a whole new way. Because Lent is a church, even though it is a church institution, it says it embodies the exalted idea of cleansing and disciplining both the mind and body towards the end of making us more receptive to divine ideas. So you're getting out the clutter so that you can bring in this resurrected idea of our divinity, basically. That's the concept behind Lent. So let's take a look at that kind of a version of it. Now that we have a refreshed mind about that. I used to go in there, I've said before about God, we'll do the same thing with Lent. Go to your subconscious mind, look at your files, and find Lent, and then right-click it and delete it. There you go. So let's start all over. Unity is as I said, unity is a positive path for spiritual living. So let's find a way to look at this Lent season from a positive and spiritual way. In doing so, I found some interesting information. It says this: there are two ways to move through the Lenten season: fasting and feasting. Both are legitimate expressions of spiritual growth. As a matter of fact, from a spiritual perspective, both are necessary. Spiritually speaking, there is only one kind of fasting, and that is abstaining from error thoughts, choices, and actions that dampen the awareness of our oneness with Spirit. The dieting that we advocate during Lent is to diet from doubts, diet from fear, abstain from believing we are unworthy, and eliminating the thinking that we are sinful by nature. Fillmore says, when we withdraw our attention, interest, and support from the false and the unworthy, this is true fasting. That's what fasting really is from a spiritual perspective. So we encourage you to fast from the belief that you just come here to learn lessons. Sometimes we learn lessons, and sometimes it can be hard. But in Unity, we teach they are effects, not causes. And the cause is from our previous erroneous thoughts that we must change, that we free ourselves from, feast in that, so that we can feast in that oneness with Spirit. So we need to fast from the idea that life has to have suffering. We really do. Jesus said, he didn't say, I come that you might have more suffering and more abundance in your suffering. He said, I came that you might have more life and more abundance in your life. So we need to get off this dead-end road and fast from those old ideas. Fast from the thought that we're not in alignment with Spirit, because we are. We just need to get out of the way. That's all we need to do. Get out of the way. That divinity within you wants to express itself, but our minds get in the way. Get out of the way. So next time you have to wait a little longer at the grocery store in line, why don't you fast from becoming impatient? And next time things don't go exactly the way you want them to go, maybe fast from becoming upset. And next time you don't agree with someone, fast from being judgmental. Next time you have a feeling of not being worthy, fast from that feeling of unworthiness. I want to take some few moments today to just contemplate today's message. It's a message about change. It's a message about fasting from our old views and feasting in our newfound glory. When I first wrote this lesson, I was pleasantly surprised to find something that kind of gave me a hint that maybe the global awareness is really changing. Because that year, these are the words of Pope Francis. He wrote this, very unity-like. He said, do you want to fast this year? Fast from hurting words and say kind words. Fast from sadness and be filled with gratitude. Fast from anger and be filled with hope. Fast from worry and have trust in God. Fast from complaints and contemplate simplicity. Fast from pressures and be prayerful. Fast from bitterness and fill your heart with joy. Fast from selfishness and be compassionate to others. Fast from grudges and be reconciled. Fast from words and be silent so that you can listen. These are the words of Pope Francis. So next time you think or do or anything that comes out of you that you know clearly is not from God, fast from that feeling and feast in the glory and the bounty that is Spirit. Bendiciones. So now comes the time in our service when we offer our tithes and gifts to our spiritual community, that we may proceed with this wonderful message, positive message that we have in unity, that there is only God. It says there is only love, that song. Well, God is love. There is only God. I told you before, one time I was writing about God and said, what is God? And that's the wrong question. The question is, what is not God? That's the question. And of course, the answer is nothing. Everything is. So we come together and we say together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love and I trust God.
Everything I see, everything I do is blessed by your hand, God. I'll give it back to you. Everything I give, every thought that's true is magnified in kind, God. I'll give it back to you.
Send your energy forth and let us bless together these tithes and offerings. We bless and dedicate these tithes and offerings as an expression of divine love, and we release them to manifest that love in our community and in our world. So we bring our children back now, and they get to tell us all about what they did. Thank you, Olivia.
So today we read a book about possums playing dead to stay alive. But it had a good lesson.
Do tell.
It was about a possum who, like, his mother was trying to teach him how to play dead so he wouldn't get, like, eaten. But every time that his mother would try to teach him, he just kept laughing. And then when it came to the real thing, he played dead perfectly fine. And, like, in the end, he just made everybody laugh. But then we made little cards with animals on them and stickers.
You want to put up a card so we can see it? Let's see it. Share it with everybody. Yeah.
All right, put yours up. Oh, I'll put them up for you.
So this is Ariana's.
These are Ari's.
Ari's. Very nice.
So God loves all the animals, even little bitty ones and insects. Is what? See, there you go.
On the back of one of my cards, I wrote something that felt very silly to write, but is true to me, I guess. I said, "Oh, how it feels to love and to be loved."
Wow, we got a poet here.
I would also like to acknowledge and thank our new children's teachers, helpers, Brett Duffy and Shuea Jones, and thank them for stepping up and volunteering to work with each other.
So let's take time to bless our children now. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ you are. Thank you so much. Today's prayer chaplain is Donna Sue. If you would like to have her pray with you, she'll be glad to do so. So let's rise now and finish with our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family honoring.
the light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God unfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. We're going to have a short little meeting afterwards to try to get some input about trying to hopefully find a bigger, more permanent home. So stick around a little bit if you can. In the meantime, you can just talk to each other. We have to put our tables back. Have a blessed week.